Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make this Monster Book of Monsters keepsake box or pencil box, whatever you want to use it for. So what we're going to need, is a box. This is a box that I got at Hobby Lobby. I've already painted some of it. This is from the Spring Shop. It was $4.99. I got it for 50% off. And I will try to put a link in the notes to the Hobby Lobby website. This box is pretty cool because it has a magnet kind of closure to it. And it used to have a little ribbon tab that I cut off because we're going to be adding our own tab to kind of pull it open. You're going to need some craft paint. Here I have white and golden brown. Basically, you're going to need kind of a light brownish color, more like a parchment color for kind of like old paper. And then you're going to need a darker color to swipe on there to make it look like the pages of a book. So what I did was I just mixed white with a little bit of this brown to get kind of the parchment color. And then I just used the brown for my kind of swiping. You are going to need fur. This is called wolf fur. I got it at Walmart. It was about $13 a yard. And I like this because it can be kind of scruffed up if you kind of push it the wrong way. And it also has this, it has like little black hairs in there with the brown hair. So it just kind of looks scruffy and it's not like super plush like teddy bear fur. So I thought it was perfect. You're also going to need teeth. These are like those Halloween fangs that you see in the stores around Halloween. I got these off of Amazon, and I will put a link to these as well. You're going to need some kind of eyeballs. Now you can use googly eyes if you want, or you can buy cat eyes on Amazon, like glass cat eyes that you would use for crafts. I actually made these. So I used these clear pebbles that are like vase filler pebbles, and I used this gold kind of textured paper that I found in my craft stash. I got this at, I think it was Joann's, but it's been like 6 years probably since I bought this. But it actually looked really cool when you put this glass bead over the top of it. It kind of magnifies the texture, so it kind of just gives it a little bit of depth. And then I just used Sharpie to put this pupil on there, and I Mod Podge the paper to the back, so we'll go over that later. So you'll need your glass beads, your gold paper, or whatever color you want the eyes to be. The only thing I would caution is to make sure your paper is not close to the color of the fur. I had some other gold paper that I was going to use, but it was actually kind of brownish in tone, as opposed to this one, which is more yellow, and it didn't show up very well when I put it next to the fur, so you definitely want to use something that stands out. Your Sharpie, your Mod Podge, your paintbrush. Then you're going to need some red felt. I just have some scraps of red felt here. And you're going to need a printout of the title of the book. I made this using kind of a leather background, I guess, that I found online, and I used Adobe Photoshop and I kind of made it look like it was embossed. So I will post this on my website as a JPEG so you can download it if you like. And you're going to need a pair of scissors. These are sharp fabric scissors for trimming the fur later. And last but not least, a hot glue gun. All right, let's get started. So I was actually making 10 of these for my daughter's birthday party as favors, and I had an assembly line thing going on, so that's why I have some of this already done. But I'll try to describe to you what I've done here. So first thing you're going to want to do is, if your box has this little ribbon tab on here, you're going to want to cut that off with some sharp scissors. Make sure it's no longer sticking out. So this box actually had this blue pattern was all around these edges here. So you're going to want to paint these edges to look like the side of the book, and these kind of brown swipes here are kind of reminiscent of the pages that would be on your book. So because there was a pattern here, I had to paint multiple coats in order to cover this up. So I painted 2 coats of white first, and then I mixed a little bit of the golden brown with some white to make kind of a lighter kind of parchment color. Painted that as my 3rd coat, and then I did kind of a dry brush technique with this golden brown. So basically I have this brush here that's kind of like, I don't know, kind of ratty on the end. It's not super perfect like this brush is very even on the end, and I really don't know where I got this, and it's probably 25 years old, but I like it for, I use it for Mod Podge so I don't ruin my other brushes, but I also like it for things like this, kind of textury type things. So basically you just want to get paint on your brush, and then you want to dab it like on a piece of paper or something. You can see kind of where I've dabbed it kind of all around here until you can see on this spot here how kind of most of the paint has come off, and it's just kind of dabbing a little bit. That's kind of what you want. You want the brush to be kind of dry with paint just coming off a little bit. And then you're just gonna gently swipe it across. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You might have to get more paint, more dabbing. You can see some of this is, you know, this is darker. Some of this I had to go over a couple times because I used a lot of paint over here and then I didn't have as much paint. It does not have to be perfect. You can see this part here is very dark. This part is light. Doesn't matter. Nobody's going to be looking at the sides of this thing. You just want to kind of give it the idea of having pages, and it really does not matter at all what it looks like. There's like a line here because there's kind of a bump in this box. So when I ran my brush across there, it kind of had this line, and it's fine. I don't care. So that's how you paint the sides, and just make sure when, you know, when you're doing your layers that you let it dry completely in between. And also make sure that you're not accidentally painting this closed. You want to make sure you have it open while you're painting it. And I painted the top edge here as well, which probably didn't matter, but at the time I thought it was a good idea. I did not bother painting the inside of this box because I thought that the paint might chip off if you were going to put something like pencils or whatever in this box. So it's just going to be blue, and I have some other boxes that are kind of like a pink and white stripe on the inside. So if you're going to sell these, you might want to do something about that, but I'm just giving them to the little kids, so I didn't think they would care. All right. So the first thing we're going to do while we're waiting for this paint to dry is we are going to work on the eyeballs, because there's going to be several coats of Mod Podge on these. And again, I already made these, so I'm not going to remake them, but I will tell you how I made them. So first you want to cut from your gold paper or whatever paper you're going to use. You're going to cut some small circles. Now the important thing about these circles is they need to be small enough so that they fit on the back of your pebble, and they need to be perfectly flat. So these are too big, and you won't be able to probably tell this, but there's like a flat part on the back of this pebble, and then it starts to curve up. And you want your circle to fit exactly on this flat part. You don't want it to be bigger, because then the edges will kind of be sticking up. And that's going to cause a problem with the Mod Podge sticking. And I actually had that problem with mine, which is why I'm telling you. So you want to make sure they're small enough so that the entire circle fits on the flat part of the pebble. So you just cut your circles out, put some Mod Podge on here. You want to stick it with the shiny side down so that you can see it through the glass. You wait for that to dry, put another, actually, you put the Mod Podge on, you stick it on, you paint more Mod Podge over the top of it, paying special attention to the edges. You want to make sure you get Mod Podge on the edges to stick it down. Wait for it to dry, and then do another coat. wait for that to dry. Then you're just going to take your Sharpie and you're going to draw your pupils on here with your Sharpie. And they might be a little streaky, you know, you're trying to draw on glass. I have tried doing paint. I tried doing paint markers, and those just wiped right off after they were dry. So Sharpie is the way to go here. So you're going to draw your pupil on here, color it in, wait till it dries, you know, a couple seconds. Sharpie doesn't take very long to dry. And then paint it with a coat of Mod Podge, wait for that to dry. And then you can go back in and you can fill in your pupil a little bit more with some more Sharpie. If you have some streaks or something, fill it in a little bit more solid, and then put another coat of Mod Podge over it, wait for that to dry, and then you have your eyeballs. Okay, now we're gonna work on the teeth. And one thing I forgot that you're gonna need is a piece of like tissue or paper towel. So what we're gonna do with the teeth, and I have one kind of here that I've already done, is these teeth are very, very white. And I find it hard to kind of see the texture of the teeth and the indentations of where the teeth are. So we're gonna kind of dirty them up with some paint so that we can see the teeth better. So all I did was just need like a drop of paint, not a lot. You're going to paint the entire front of the teeth, paying special attention to getting into the grooves. Like that. And then you're just going to take your piece of tissue and you're going to swipe this way, sideways, and you're trying to swipe off the paint from the surfaces of the teeth while you're leaving the paint that's kind of in the grooves. So I'm just going to kind of swipe it like this. And you can totally leave some paint on some of the teeth just to make them look dirty. It's totally fine. And that's what you want it to look like. So you do that to both sides. Swiped off too much there. There we go. Dirty monster teeth, and you just let it dry. All right, while we wait for the teeth to dry, we are gonna make some gums for these teeth to attach to. And I will show you kind of what that looks like once you get it on there. We need to attach the teeth to something so that we can put them on the box. So there's a little red here, a little red here. These are like the gums. So what you want to do is you're going to want a piece of felt that is, oops, got some paint on it. Piece of felt that's, I don't know, about a couple, what is that, 3 millimeters-ish bigger, wider on each side than the wider part of your teeth. This is about 4 1/4 inches long. So what you're going to do with this is you are just going to roll it up, and it's basically just going to look like this, but this was not long enough, so it did not make a big enough roll. So that's why I made it longer this time. So you're just gonna roll it up like this. And you want your roll to be thick enough in diameter, or I guess thick enough this way, to fully fit. I'm just going to use this piece because it's dry. This is the top set of teeth that is the biggest. You want this to fully fit on here, like this. This other one that I made that I had thrown away was too skinny, so the teeth didn't fit on there. And you can bend it like this to follow the shape of the teeth, but you want it to be thick enough so that this whole part here can actually fit on here. So I'm just going to run a bead of the hot glue down here and glue this. Just like that. And if it's too long this way, you can always trim it once you get it on the teeth. All right, so I'm gonna take, first I have to show you. One thing you're gonna need other than fabric scissors is regular scissors. So you're gonna wanna cut these teeth off this kind of side piece here. And so basically you want to cut this entire side piece off. So you're going to cut along kind of this seam right here and cut along this seam right here. Okay, and you just throw these away, these side pieces. And now you have your bottom and your top teeth. For these bottom teeth, these are going to be pressed flat against the box. So it's kind of hard to describe, but this part right here kind of sticks out. So we're going to cut this kind of at an angle so that it no longer sticks out. Just to kind of make it flatter on the back. And if that doesn't make any sense, once you start putting this on your box, you'll probably understand, because you'll be like, oh, that piece is sticking out, I need to get rid of it. Right. So the first thing you want to do is glue the teeth, the top teeth, to this roll. And this part with the seam here is going to be the back. This is going to be the part that gets glued to the box. So you're going to want to glue your teeth on the kind of opposite side of that. And when you glue these on, there's not much space to put glue here. This is like an edge, so you're gonna have to be careful when you put your hot glue on there. And then you can kind of bend this to match the shape of your teeth. And you might want to kind of do that before you start gluing, just so it's got kind of a bend to it, so you can kind of match the shape of your teeth like this. Just very carefully put glue on the edges of the teeth. And just kind of stick it on there and hold it till it's dry. So it looks like this. Okay, while that's drying, you are going to take a flat piece of red felt and you're just going to glue, I already did this one, but you're just going to put glue on the bottom, or on the edges of the bottom teeth, and you're going to glue it right flat onto a flat piece of felt, and then just use your scissors to cut around it so that there's like, I don't know, maybe a millimeter kind of sticking out all the way around. And this is going to be up against your fur like this, so remember this back part is going to be flat up against the box, so you don't really need to care what this part looks like. You just need to care that you have a little bit of red kind of sticking out around here, because that's what you're going to see on your box. Okay, so this is dry now. I didn't get it centered, so there's more red kind of on this end than there is on this. So you could leave it. I'm going to try to trim mine just to make it a little bit more even. So there we go. All right, now we're going to glue this top jaw to the box. So you're going to be gluing this to the top of the box, making sure that you're not accidentally gluing the box closed. And these teeth are going to be kind of sticking out at an angle, because when you look down at the box, you're going to be, when you're using the box, you're going to be looking down at it. It's going to be sitting on a table, or you're going to be holding it in your hands. You're going to be looking down at it. So you want the teeth to be kind of diagonal so that they're facing up a little bit so that you can see the teeth. So when we glue this on, we're going to kind of glue it basically so that it looks good to you while you're looking down at it, like this. And again, making sure that we're not gluing the box shut. If it is a little unstable, once you get it glued on there, you can put some more glue underneath here to kind of stabilize it so that it doesn't move. You want to make sure your glue doesn't drip down the side here and end up gluing this box shut. My glue is kind of dripping a little bit, but it hasn't gotten to the point where it's a problem. Okay, so there we've got the top jaw on. Now we're going to take the bottom jaw that has our little piece of red felt on it. Now we want this one to be flat against the bottom of the box, and the reason for that is because the back of this doesn't have any sculpting on it. It's only the front that looks like teeth, and the back is just kind of like flat. So if you were to put this kind of out like this, like it would be if it was a real jaw that was open, what you're looking at when you're looking from the top is the back, and it doesn't look anything like teeth. So what I did was I just put it flat against the front of the box. You want this red part to be kind of even with the bottom of the box. And this is curved, so when you put it on there, you want to just kind of press it a little bit flat. And just get it centered on your other set of teeth. And as this is drying, you can fill in some glue down here to get this to be a little bit more stable. So this is what it looks like from the front. All right, so now we are ready to put the fur on. So you want your fur to be about a 1/2 inch bigger on each side than your box, and to be able to wrap around like this and be about, I would say, at least 1.5 inches bigger than your box on this edge here. So you can see it's about 1.5 inches, and same for this. The reason why you want it to be bigger is because these sides, these are pretty okay actually, but if you fold this in, you can kind of get this nice hairy edge here. If you were to just glue this on the side, that would probably work too, but I think it just looks nicer when you fold it in a little bit. You've got a nice hairy edge. And then also on these cut edges here, you know, you've got this side which has this kind of cut edge where, you know, you can see the fur where it's nice and smooth right here. You can also see the fabric that's attached to. And on this side here, you've got the fur that has been completely cut off straight. And so neither of these edges is ideal. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up folding this in and kind of pulling this fur out like this. So when we glue it on, we've got this nice hairy edge. So you want the fur to be like the nap of the fur, or the direction of the fur to be coming towards you as you're looking at the box. So it's going to be like this. Fur goes this way. By the way, something I forgot to mention. When I bought this fur, it had some creases in it from where it was wrapped around the bolt or whatever of fabric, and a steamer worked pretty well to take the creases out of the fur. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fold in each of these sides by about a 1/2 inch and glue it. And I like to do this a little at a time, not the entire side at a time. It's just easier to work with. So you're putting your bead of glue right there on the edge, folding it in just like this, 1/2 inch-ish. One thing that I forgot to mention, and that I've also forgotten to do here, is I had been trying to not glue the very end of this and kind of leave it, I can probably pull this up, kind of leave it open, because what's going to end up happening is when we fold this over, we're going to have all of these layers. We're going to have 2 layers from here and 2 additional layers from here when we fold this over. So what I had been trying to do is kind of snipping off this corner so that there wasn't so many layers there. But quite honestly, I've forgotten on most of the ones that I've made. Like this edge here it's not going to come off because it's dry. So, but if you can remember, kind of just leave the end of it open. I'll try to remember to do it on this side. Now you want to make sure that you put your box on there and make sure you're not making it too skinny. So when we pull this fur out here, that's going to give us a nice hairy edge. and my box fits right on there. So it's looking good. You don't want to fold it in too far because then it'll be too short for your box or not wide enough. I have managed to remember this time to leave this end open and this end open. All right, so now you're just going to take this fur and kind of pull it out like this to make a nice scruffy hairy edge. Like that. All right, now making sure that everything is going the direction we want it to go. So we want it to go like this, right, with the hair coming down like this. So I'm going to work on this end first, and I'm going to fold this in. Now this is the edge that was cut off straight. So all these hairs here are cut off very evenly, and we don't want that. So we're going to fold this in as much as we need to in order to get some of these hairs to stick out kind of scruffily like this. So that's why we're leaving our 1.5 inches of fabric here, so we can fold that in far enough, because if you only fold it in a little bit, well, now you've got little short hairs sticking out. So you want to fold it in more so that we're taking advantage of these long scruffy hairs back here. So I'm just gonna, this is the edge that I did not remember to do, but for this edge, I'm going to try to cut this little corner off here, just so there's not so many layers when I fold this up. Didn't really work very well because I kind of didn't leave enough loose there, but now when you fold this up, it's going to be a little easier than trying to fold this whole thing up with all these layers. But either way, it works. So we're folding this up about 1 inch-ish, 1.5 inches, maybe a little bit more than 1 inch. Just enough so that we can get this scruffy look going on. Make sure this is all nice and tacked down here. Okay, so now remember, this is going to be the top. So this is going to go on our box just like this. And then this is going to come down like this. And we've got plenty of room here to do our folding. So what we're going to do first, with our hair going this way, is we're going to put a bead of hot glue right on the top of the gum and on the sides, like that. And we're just going to carefully place this, making sure that it's centered right there on the box, kind of leaving a little bit of the red so you can kind of see it. And we're pressing this down so that the hair goes to on the top of this and then down the sides. So I'm kind of pressing my fingers kind of on the ends of the gum here. Okay, and then once you've got that, we're going to lift this up and put a bead here and a bead here, and we're going to press that down. All right, now we're going to take this and fold it forward, and we're going to glue it to the top. Again, making sure that we don't glue this shut accidentally. A couple times I have managed to get glue on it, and you just kind of have to figure out where your glue is and get a little fingernail in there and get it dislodged. Alright, so we're going to fold this forward now, and I'm going to do a glue bead along each edge here, and then some down the middle. I'm going to take this back, make sure it's centered, and press it down. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing to the back of the box. Go down the side, go down the side. Go the length of the box, a little bit in the middle. And put it down. Okay, so now all we need to do is the bottom. So what we're going to do here is fold this in the same way that we did the top, and we're just going to kind of measure how far we want to fold it. So it's going to end up looking like that, and this red gum piece just sits right on top of the fold of fur. So this side I actually did remember to do. I'm going to cut these little corners off. And we're going to fold this up. So fold it up, tack it down, and then before it dries, put this down. Make sure I need to move it up a little. Make sure you've got it exactly where you need it to be. This needs to be more, folded a little bit more. There, that's perfect. So I have an edge here that kind of sticks up, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue there, tack that little guy down, try not to burn myself. That edge seems to be doing okay. Check it again. I'm going to pull this hair out from the bottom here, and that's what it looks like, so it's the perfect spot for it to be. So I'm just going to do the bottom with the glue the same way I did the top. Okay, there we go. All right, so the fur is on, looking good. This part is kind of hanging off a little bit, so I think I'm gonna actually glue, I'm gonna glue this red part down, which I did not have to do on my other ones, but for some reason this part is kind of sticking out more than my other ones, so. Okay, so there he is. Little hairy dude. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is put our title on. So I'm going to cut around this, so it's going to be the Monster Book of goes at the top and Monsters goes at the bottom. Now I'm going to use hot glue to put these on. On some of them I used Elmer's glue, but the ones that I used the liquid glue, they kind of, the paper buckled a little bit and it started to kind of curve in like this. And so I put a book on top of it to try to flatten it out. And it doesn't look bad, but I found out that using hot glue was better, or I preferred it anyway. So before you put these on, you're going to want to, excuse me, you're going to want to kind of spread the hair apart so that you can, when you're gluing this, you're not gluing it to the top of the hair. You're gluing it to the base of the hair where the hair attaches to the fabric. So you're going to kind of spread the hair apart in this line kind of at the top where you want this to be. Because it's going to be more secure that way. So you can see how you can kind of see the fabric down there. And I'm just going to put hot glue on the back of this and I'm going to paste it right there. I'm just trying to kind of spread the glue around. I don't want like large glops of glue, but just enough to get it on there. And also trying not to burn myself again. Okay, so we're just going to put it right here and press it down. And we're going to do the same thing with this, and we're going to put it down here. Okay, so we've got that on there. Now we're going to put the eyes on. So our eyes are going to go like this. I think the actual Monster Book of Monsters had 5 eyes maybe. I'm only using 3 for lack of space. But the way I put my eyes is I put one right in the middle, and then I kind of put 2 kind of lower and kind of tilted in this way with the pupils. So it's going to look like this. But you also want to do the same thing here where you spread the hair apart, because if you just paste these right on the top of this hair, all the hair that you've pasted it to can then move just like this, and it can come up like this. So you want to make sure that you're moving the hair aside so that you're pasting it to the base of the hair and to the fabric that's underneath. So it looks like a good spot, right centered there. I keep forgetting that when I'm centering these, I tend to center them on this, forgetting that this kind of bumps out like this. So when you're centering it, pay attention to where this bumps down, and you want to center it here, not here. One eyeball right there. Trying to get my hot glue strings off. one right here, kind of tilt it in a little bit. And one right here. Okay, so now after those dry, you're going to want to give this guy a little trim because he's got his hair over his eyes and he's got his hair mustache here over his teeth, and you can't really see his eyes and his teeth very well. So I took these scissors and I just kind of gave him a jagged trim so you could see his teeth and his eyes a little bit more easily. Just like that. Same for his eyes. There. And you can kind of poof the hair up a little bit so that it's not covering the eyes. I'm going to trim just a little bit in between here. There we go. Okay, and then the last thing we need to do is put the tongue on, which is also the bookmark, which in this case is going to be the way that we open the box so that we're not grabbing the teeth and potentially pulling the teeth off. So you're going to need another piece of red fabric, and we're going to make this into a forked tongue. So we're going to fold it over, and we're going to cut at an angle from the folded side to the unfolded side, like this, so that we have a forked tongue. And whichever side you decide to put it on, you can put it here. I like to put mine a little bit crooked. Just make sure that it's sticking out enough so that you'll be able to see it. You don't want it to be super short because then the hair will get in the way and you won't be able to see it. So I like to have mine sticking out enough to where it kind of curls down like that. And I like to have it a little bit crooked just so it gives a little visual interest. So just kind of place it wherever you're going to put it. Ow, burned myself again. And then, so I have some on the end here, but now I have this part that's kind of flapping down, so I'm going to put some right here so that this is pasted, glued, flat. Like this. So that is how you will open the box. And there he is, the little monster book of monsters made into a pencil box or a keepsake box or whatever you want to use it.